I am Arcana Vani, your inner voice. Let us begin. You already know what needs to change. It's not a mystery. The relationship that's draining you, the job that's eating your spirit, the habits that keep you spinning in place. You've pictured the alternative life, written it down, maybe even talked about it out loud. But the step that would begin it all, you haven't taken it. You tell yourself it's because you're waiting for the right time, or that you need more clarity, or that you're just not ready yet. But under the surface, you feel the truth. Days are passing. Nothing is moving. And the gap between who you are and who you want to be is widening. This video is for that exact moment. The stuck point between knowing and doing. You're going to learn why you can see the path so clearly, but can't seem to step onto it. How to stop punishing yourself for this paralysis, and how to move forward in a way that doesn't trigger more fear or shame. Not by forcing yourself, not by cranking up the willpower, but by giving your nervous system a reason to believe it's safe to begin. If you've been feeling like your hesitation is proof that you're weak, unmotivated, or broken, this is where that story ends. Right now, your mind probably treats this change like a cliff. One step forward and it's a free fall. That's why your body resists. The human nervous system is wired to protect you from anything it interprets as unsafe. And unsafe doesn't just mean danger. It can mean uncertainty, it can mean unfamiliarity, it can mean losing control of a rhythm, even if that rhythm is slowly suffocating you. And so, you stay here, stuck in the in-between, no longer able to pretend you're fine, but not yet able to leap. The real cost of this isn't just wasted time. It's erosion. Every day you delay, a little more self-trust wears away. You might not see it happening, but it shows up in your energy, in the way you drag yourself through tasks, in the heaviness you feel when you wake, in the numbness that creeps into conversations and routines. The longer you stay in this limbo, the easier it becomes to believe the lie that you'll never change. And that belief is far more dangerous than the situation you're trying to leave. What you need is not a louder pep talk. You don't need someone to tell you to just do it. You need a way to start that doesn't set off alarm bells in your mind and body. You need a way to move forward gently. So gently that your nervous system says yes instead of slamming the brakes. That's exactly what we're going to create together in this transmission. Because the truth is, your inability to start isn't a flaw, it's a signal. And in the next section, we're going to decode that signal, to see exactly what your hesitation is trying to protect you from, and why understanding this changes everything. If you've been blaming yourself for not starting, you've been looking at the wrong culprit. What feels like procrastination or weakness is, in many cases, your nervous system trying to keep you safe. And safety, in its language, doesn't mean good for you. It means familiar. The human brain would rather live with a known discomfort than step into an unknown possibility. That's why you can logically know a change is necessary, even desperately want it, and still feel like you're walking into a wall every time you try. Think about it. Your current reality, however misaligned, is mapped in your body's memory. Your routines, relationships, environment, they've become predictable. And predictability feels safe to the primal mind because it can anticipate the next moment. Change disrupts that pattern. Even if the change is positive, it's still a disruption. And disruption equals risk in the survival blueprint you inherited from ancestors who couldn't afford to gamble with the unknown. This is why starting feels so heavy. It's not because you're lazy or uncommitted. It's because every fiber of your being has been conditioned to avoid situations where the outcome can't be guaranteed. That old protective wiring doesn't recognize that not starting is also a form of danger. The slow erosion of self-trust, the quiet loss of possibility. Instead, it tricks you into thinking that delay is neutral, when in reality, it's corrosive. Once you see this, the guilt begins to loosen. You start to understand that your body hasn't been sabotaging you. It's been overprotecting you. And if you can show it that small, safe movements are possible, you can bypass the alarm and start building momentum. The shift begins when you stop making the leap the goal. Instead of one massive high-stakes jump, you create a bridge of tiny, repeatable actions that signal, "We're safe. We can do this." That's how you retrain your nervous system to walk forward instead of pulling you back. And that's where we go next, into a daily ritual so small and grounded that your mind won't fight it, and your body will actually want to follow. This is the practice that will turn knowing into doing. Here's where we stop talking about change and begin building it, but not in the way you've been taught. The goal is not to overwhelm yourself into action. It's to create a single, gentle ritual that communicates safety to your body while planting you firmly in movement. This isn't a hack. It's the first brick in a bridge that will carry you out of paralysis. Choose a time of day when you can give yourself just 90 seconds without distraction. Morning is ideal because it frames the day with possibility before the noise begins. Stand or sit somewhere you can feel your feet connected to the ground. Place your hand over your heart. Close your eyes for 3 slow breaths, each one a little deeper than the last. With the final exhale, whisper, or say firmly if you prefer, a simple cue: one small thing. This is your signal. It's not a demand, not a threat, but an agreement between you and the part of you that's ready to move. Then, choose a single micro-action connected to your bigger change. If you're leaving a job, maybe it's writing down one possible role you'd be excited to explore. If you're ending a draining habit, maybe it's replacing one moment of that habit with a healthier alternative. The scale doesn't matter. What matters is that it's small enough to do immediately, without resistance, and specific enough that you can point to it and say, "I moved." By anchoring each day with this ritual, you begin to train your nervous system to see change not as a cliff, but as a series of safe, manageable steps. Repetition is key. Your mind learns through proof, and every completed micro-action becomes evidence that you can move without breaking anything vital. This isn't a one-time push. It's a pattern you're teaching yourself to trust. Over time, the resistance shrinks, the actions grow, and you begin to notice a new default: moving instead of pausing, choosing instead of deferring. This is how you rewire the memory. This is how you break the loop, by choosing presence on purpose. And in the next section, we'll go deeper into the presence practice that keeps you from slipping back into old hesitation, even when fear shows up again. The daily ritual gets you moving, but presence is what keeps you from slipping back. Without it, the old reflexes can quietly return, and you'll find yourself hesitating again, without realizing why. Presence is the skill of catching yourself in the exact moment your mind tries to pull you back into delay, and choosing not to follow. Presence doesn't require hours of meditation. or a perfectly quiet space. It can happen anywhere. Waiting in line, washing dishes, sitting in traffic. The key is to notice when you feel the subtle tug to pause, to avoid, to distract. Instead of rushing to fight it or explain it away, you stop for just 30 seconds. Feel your feet on the floor. Notice the air moving in and out of your lungs. Let your attention expand until you can watch the hesitation without becoming it. In this witness state, you see the truth. Hesitation is not a command. It's a passing signal. You can acknowledge it without obeying it. Over time, this simple practice builds a powerful separation between you and the impulses that once controlled you. You're no longer tangled in the thought, "I can't." You're the one watching it drift past. The more you practice this, the more you'll realize you don't need to wait for the perfect mood, clarity, or motivation to act. You only need to recognize the moment, breathe, and choose the next small step. This is how presence turns into quiet momentum. Not because you force it, but because you stop abandoning yourself in the moment you need you most. And the more often you return here, the more you remember you were never the hesitation in the first place. In the next section, we'll seal all of this together: the awareness, the ritual, the presence, and show you how to step forward into the future self who moves without needing permission. You've seen why the hesitation was never proof of weakness. It was a signal from a nervous system trying too hard to keep you safe. You've learned how to work with it, not against it. A daily 90-second ritual to prove change can be small, safe, and doable. A presence practice to stop hesitation from reclaiming you when it tries. Now it's time to weave these pieces into the rhythm of who you're becoming. To recap, each morning, place your hand over your heart. 3 slow breaths. Whisper one small thing. Then act a single micro step connected to the change you want. Not because it's urgent, but because it's yours. Repeat daily. This is how you signal to your body and mind that forward motion is normal, safe, and expected. Alongside that, carry your presence practice everywhere. 30 seconds. A pause, a return. In a grocery line, in your car, before a difficult call. Stop. Feel your feet. Breathe. And watch the hesitation pass without climbing back inside it. The more often you do this, the faster you'll recognize that your old pattern was never who you are. It was just noise you'd mistaken for truth. You'll notice subtle shifts. Decisions feel lighter. Actions begin sooner. The guilt fades. You'll stop waiting for readiness and start living inside the process. Not because you've become fearless, but because you've learned that fear doesn't need to decide for you anymore. You don't need to become someone new. You only need to return fully to the one who moves without abandoning themselves. And that return begins every time you choose to take even the smallest step forward, gently, without permission, and without delay. You did not find me by accident. Just as in your dreams, where every face you meet is your own reflection, this meeting was always waiting to happen. I am Arcana Vani, your inner voice, the part of you that watches behind the thoughts, behind the noise. You have searched in many places, books, teachers, voices outside you. But here, you are not being taught. You are remembering. If these words stir something familiar, then allow yourself to return. Subscribe. Follow. Not to follow me, but to continue this conversation with yourself. Each time you return here, you draw closer to the reunion already unfolding inside you. We have only just begun.